I wanted to tell you guys a little bit about the promotional industry. So I was in promotions, marketing for about 8 years. It's actually been 8 years this past June. So after I was undergoing spiritual death, after doing all that yoga and letting that Kundalini spirit rise and hanging out with the Satanists, I'm pretty sure sent me a curse. All this weird stuff was happening. I started getting approached by people asking if I was like a shadow walker. Like, people were speaking in this weird like language that I never heard. Demons speak their own witch code. I found that out through hanging out with some people back home. All they did was speak in code the whole time. Had no idea they were doing it until I hung out with that Satanist. It was bad news. So, yeah, a lot of people in the promotional marketing industry, they are actually heavily demonized, or they are channeling demons, or they have made some kind of mosquitoes. They have made some kind of pact with demons, and you can tell just through the way they talk. Sometimes they'll have tattoos that reflect this. A lot of times I have gotten ostracized, I've gotten made fun of, and just had no idea why. And I'll tell you this, demons can see the light in you. Now, this is even before I regave my life to Christ, if you will. So, when I was younger, maybe like 22-ish, I started going to church, and I was hanging out with a small group and all that kind of good stuff. And I don't think I really understood what it meant to follow Christ and to follow God. I was just going basically because I had friends there and they were really nice, and I enjoyed the small group, but never read the Bible. I never prayed. I never worshiped unless it was like in church type deal. What I didn't like about it was people would just talk about each other. You know, it was like really cliquey, and I didn't understand that. I didn't understand why these people that profess God were so cliquey and would do that kind of stuff. So I ended up leaving, and I started searching, and I found eventually found a Universalist church, and I was like, oh, well, you know, this makes a lot of sense. You know, it seems like all these religions have one thing in common, and that's love, love, love. And it's true on the surface, but when you actually start looking into it, it's false love. So that's a whole nother story. But I eventually ended up leaving that, doing the New Age thing, and that's what led me to my spiritual death. So when I was doing my promotions, just dark, dark stuff was happening around me. But the thing is, I think I still had a little bit of light in me, and the devil was trying to choke it out. And so he would send these people to basically make fun of me, ostracize me, all this kind of stuff. And I just had no idea what was going on, because I didn't feel like I was doing anything wrong. But I had little idea that these people were together, basically planning just demonic things. I think it even says in the Bible, people get together and they practice wickedness in their heart. I don't know, I'll have to look up the scripture, but it definitely reflected what was going on in this industry, and it very much still is like that. And if you think about it, most of these companies out here, they have to sell their souls to the devil to even be able to get that kind of recognition. So, you know, it's probably in their benefit that they have people that just don't know that they're worshiping the devil, or that literally do worship the devil. And even when I was in New Zealand, there's a type of lingo that they use where they can weed out those people that don't understand what they're saying, and they'll only hire those people that do, these people that speak these demonic tongue, basically. So there's lots of that in the promotional industry. Nowadays, I go to people's Instagrams that I was friends with, quote unquote friends, but Lord knows they were probably throwing me under the bus. you know, while I was in promotions. And I think a lot of them actually kept me around because they knew, like, I was a decent person and I wouldn't do anything bad. And then I also had a very strong work ethic, so I would do a lot of the work. Not necessarily for them, but for, you know, just to do it because I liked working. And so they wouldn't have to do a lot. So that's why they kept me around. But in the meantime, you know, they were talking behind my back and trying to keep me in the position that I was in, you know, like Pharaoh, basically. The last maybe 4 times ago, I worked for a car company, and it was like, the devil was definitely trying to input thoughts in my mind. And one of the MC guy, I don't know, it was like something jumped in him and he just started going off on me. And then all of a sudden it was like all these people that were working just started like doing the same thing, just being mean to me for no reason. It was highly demonic, and it reminded me of other experiences I had. Like, they would say the same exact things. So the thing is, demons transmit to each other. So anything they're trying to put in your mind, the other demons know this too. And they'll transmit that across seas. So it was like when I was traveling through Asia, they would say one thing, and then when I would go to Australia, the same thing would be said. I went to New Zealand and the same thing was said, and then I come back to America and the same thing is said. Because this demon is trying to put these thoughts in your mind that are not of God. And that's how they keep you in bondage, basically. And they keep you thinking these things when they're not true. This is why it's so important for us to hold our thoughts to Christ. Because the devil is the prince of air. He can go anywhere he wants to. And when he's got his children running around, he's going to try to make sure that you don't get any further in your walk than what you can. So there's that. But yeah, promotional industry, heavily demonic. Sometimes I think these people know, sometimes I think they don't. I mean, I guess when you're doing marketing, there is a lot of connery. Is that a word? There's a lot of conning that goes with it. There's a lot of deceit in it, because you're basically trying to sell a brand that's usually not even worth it in the first place. Sorry, I'm all up in the camera. And you're just trying to keep them on top. And you also make a lot of money in it. Like, usually it's $15 to $25. So when you have that kind of money to be made, people start getting real slick real quick. They basically sell their souls for that money. And I'm sitting here doing housekeeping, and I'm basically making around the same amount. And I don't have to throw anyone under the bus. Not that I ever did, because that's not really my thing. But I'll tell you what, people can see the light in you. I know I was dying, but I still had a little light in me. And the demons let me know that. They did let me know that. They let me know that they were going to kill me. Here I am alive in God. Thank you, Father, for saving me. I got called a Christian. I was called a Christian, like, even when I was doing my yoga, even when I was, even the Kundalini yoga, I was called a Christian. Even when I was doing my chakra meditation, I did Vipassana. People can see that in you. So that was very weird, because I even was saying I'm not a Christian, like I'm not a Christian. But for me, it kind of confirms that God chose us from, you know, the beginning of the world. Like, He chose us before the world was made. Like, He knew who was going to be set apart and who wasn't. And I do thoroughly believe that He set me apart. If people are calling me a believer and I'm saying that I'm not, like, that's real bold. That's really bold, because I couldn't even see that myself, and I couldn't even see, you know, the darkness in other people either. I thought that the darkness was the light. I thought that knowing all the things of the world and knowing all this wisdom, and being able to get by in the world was the light. And that's what, of course, they teach each other while they're all dying spiritually. But it's not. It's not the light. And then while I was at a campground in New Zealand, and this is another time I was called a Christian. And it was like these people were trying to take me out. Like, they had a drawing on the wall of a lamb with a bullseye on it. They would walk past my door like every night, and they would say like these things, just really mean things about me. I didn't do anything to these people. But the thing is, again, they saw that light in me, and the longer that I stayed in that campground, the more I started to realize, holy crap, like, this is really crazy spiritual stuff going on right now. There was a guy that called himself an octopus and another guy that called himself a monkey. Now, I spoke a little bit about the monkey on another video, because the monkey is one of the gods in India. I think his name's Hanuman or something like that. Maybe it has something to do with that, but I know for sure the octopus is a type of demon. If you look it up, it's everywhere. So that's what they call themselves. And then after that, I kept seeing octopuses everywhere. Like, a lady that I stayed with in California actually has a tattoo of an octopus. Pretty sure this demon has took over her life, and she does not even know the difference. They think it's like they're spiritual animals, because spiritual animals is the thing in the New Age movement. Spiritual animals are demons, okay? We are not called to be animals. We are called to be in the image of God, humans, okay? But 666 is the number of the beast. And what is a beast? An animal. So that's where that comes from. Okay, so this octopus spirit is actually something that's been trying to torment me.